I'd hate to be cliche and begin my video with a quote or adage, but I feel I have to. Good artist copy, great artist steal. Steve Jobs, apparently, or at least that's what Google AI had told me. We do not know if he was the first to say that, really. Perhaps he was the most famous person to say that, or maybe it was derived from Pablo Picasso's "Lesser artists borrow, great artists steal." Moreover, it could have been taken from T.S. Eliot's "Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. Bad poets deface what they take, and good poets make it into something better, or at least something different. The good poet wields his theft into a whole of a feeling, which is unique, utterly different than that from which it is torn." Whoa, banger. Anyways, all artists steal. I truly do believe that it is impossible to have an entirely original idea. Credit will more often than not go to whoever is the most popular or whoever is the most influential. I feel every artist has heard that they should, quote, steal like an artist, end quote, at least one point in their life. But I feel we misunderstand the phrase because we do not have the full nuance of the phrase. While I was instructed to create master copies for my studio art courses, I was taught to steal like an artist. We don't steal ideas, we don't steal portraits, we don't steal poses. Well, kind of. Granted, I did try to steal their swag and pizzazz and their techniques, albeit I was a 17-year-old drawing my Otao character in different Hatsune Miku fan art, so I was not exactly going to be the next Henry Took or the next Sangho. With so many new art thieves thanks to the rise of AI, I saw a handful of tweets and videos claiming artists should, quote, steal back from AI, end quote, as it does not hold a copyright. At first, I thought it was a valiant effort, take back what is rightfully ours. However, as an artist who has been fortunate enough to not have my work trained on AI or for AI, I do not think that I should steal from AI. Now, I'm seeing a growing concern and pushback against stealing from AI. Today, I want to discuss the ethics of references, the ethics of AI-generated images, and the ethics of artists stealing from AI-generated images. Before I continue on to the rest of the video, I will take this time to introduce myself. Howdy, I'm Himeros. I'm a virtual cupid. If you enjoy ramblings and yappings on art, speed paints, and general VTubery, feel free to like and subscribe below and follow at HimerosVT on all platforms. Thank you! Now on to the rest of the video. Let's look back at Jobs' quote, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." Now let's look back at Picasso's quote, "Lesser artists borrow, great artists steal." And while I hate to be repetitive, Eliot's quote sets much of the framework for today's discussion. Immature poets imitate, mature poets steal. Bad poets deface what they take, and good poets make it into something better, or at least something different. The good poet wields his theft into a whole of a feeling which is unique, utterly different than that from which it is torn. We've reached a point in art, music, photography, and pretty much all creative ventures that it is hard for something to not be inspired by another work. We remix, we rehash, we sample, we collage, we take and take and take until we have a piece that feels talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique, completely not ever been done before. At least if you're the most popular person to make that work or the algorithm looks kindly on you. Jobs was not the only person to create a tech company. Picasso was not the only cubist nor fauvist. Eliot was not the only poet to exist in the world. These were minds who simply got more credit to their names than others. We are bound to feel inspired, we are bound to feel compelled. We love to take what we deem is interesting and create beautiful pieces from images or life stills that inspires us. But very rarely do you see an artist's entire workflow, their collection of references or studies. A seasoned artist will amass a series of references, photos, artists that they like, studies that they do, and countless sketchbooks and works in progresses. They know better than to begin with nothing. However, the ethics of references become especially murky when you consider how grand art is, the confusing nature of copyright, and how artists tend to get lost in the dreadful seas of algorithms. At what point is a reference photo its own piece of art, its own intellectual property? At what point is it unfair to take from a photo reference? If you directly reference a photo, does that new artwork belong to you? Are you the sole contributor? A couple months back, I stumbled upon photographer NewJeans celebrating their copyright win against Jeff Dishberg. While I could not originally read the article as she celebrated, when I was writing the script, I was reminded of the suit and decided to check back in. Dishberg is clearly a very technically skilled artist. He can replicate photos extremely well. He is well versed with painting techniques. The main issue, however, is his painting is almost an exact replica of Zhang's work. In mid-2022, Dishberg won 1,500 euro from this diptych. Zhang was appalled. Who has the audacity to so blatantly steal from another artist? A good artist would wield their theft into a whole of a feeling, which is unique, utterly different than that from which it is torn. The composition is entirely the same. Zhang's art is in the photo she takes. She owns the photo, the likeness of the photo, that is Zhang's work. With an almost one-to-one replication, is this not better than tracing? What does the replica offer if not, it looks cute? Hyper-realistic portraits are amazing to look at, sure, and Jang has no issue with students referencing her work for studies or practice, so long as it is not for portfolios, commercial gain, and is always credited to Jang. What artistic merit, what artistic value does directly referencing and profiting off of another artist's work, all while robbing them of the bare recognition of their effort, bring to the culture? While Jang tried to get rightful recognition, she was fed half-truths and fallacies on copyright. Dani.Hz lectured her, "I was inspired by some of your artistic choices, but I created an image in an artisanal way, with different colors, a different technique, invert and representation of the figure, and an additional features and the result dialogues with a second crucial composition, a self-portrait. Together, they define my work Turandot." Or Turandot? I've actually never pronounced that word out loud before. While there can be some claims for inspiration, such as the case of Tai West's use of Technicolor and use of very saturated blues and reds and pearl as an allusion to the Wizards of Oz and other Technicolor films of the era, the direct reference of another artist's work and flipping an image in Photoshop does not an original piece make. This is the same photo, the same composition, the same artwork. Thankfully, 2 years later, Jang won their copyright, and much of the credibility Dani.Hz had before did decline, as other artists also came forward with allegations of him directly referencing their compositions and works. If one steals from an artist with the intent of taking their recognition and earnings, they are a poor artist. And this brings me on to my second point, the ethics of AI-generated images. AI-generated images are bad.
I agree with that!
But Himeros, what about the people who do not have the means to afford art, ooh?
Pick up a pencil. Why are you gatekeeping art from the people? AI? Bad. AI-generated images are, unfortunately, more often than not, unethically sourced. Most, if not all, art sourced is stolen and uploaded without the original artist's consent, so we can acknowledge that the original art is stolen and all artwork created from that is stolen as well. Inputting a short text with a lot of jargon and lingo describing the big-tittied anime waifu that you want to see does not an artist make. A bad poet will deface what is stolen. A bad artist will deface what is stolen. AI artifacts, the inconsistent lines, botched hands, soulless faces, heartless construction. It's a genuine slap in the face to real artists who had their work stolen from them. Nothing new was created. There is no new thought. There is nothing of merit. While I can understand the novelty behind these images and the genuine rush you may get from seeing an oiled up AI shirtless Sukuna or Gojo, once you've seen them once, you've seen them all. These compositions came from other artists. The colors and poses were taken from other illustrations and paintings. It was not created for the joy of creation or love of the craft. It is a soulless, gluttonous, greedy creation. AI synthesis does not magically appear. It does not create a new image. AI-generated images simply create an amalgamation of pre-existing images and artworks, hashing together key phrases, poses, and backgrounds. Truly, the only ethical sourcing of AI could come from the consent of the owner of the training data. Case in point, Synthesizer V and Vocaloid 6 AI vocals. The voice provider, company, and distributor sign a very lengthy contract, establish the terms and conditions for the vocal that all purchasers must agree to, and, most importantly, there's a great deal of consent and permission granted to the use of AI training for the vocals. If I were to train an AI software with only my artwork, if I create and release the dataset and I allow others to synthesize images from my pre-existing work, then I have created my own ethical AI image generator. Granted, this is if everyone follows my terms of use, does not break my TOS, and actively follows said TOS instead of just clicking yes and hoping that I don't notice. But what would be the benefit of me creating this AI image generator? Will it expedite my process? What about for others using it? Is it to enable others to recreate my artwork? Can they recreate my artwork once I die? Would it tarnish my work? Would it tarnish my legacy? Will I still be able to give consent if I am dead? Without consent, there is no ethical training model. With no ethical training model, there is no ethical output. Since there is no ethical output, there is no ethical way to steal or directly reference from AI-generated images. And this brings me to my third and last point. Stealing or directly referencing AI is stealing from other artists. While you are not directly stealing from an artist's earnings or potential copyright, you are infringing on multiple artists' copyright and multiple artists' earnings. You cannot copyright an AI-generated image. AI-generated images do not belong to a certain creator. While you cannot copyright AI, it is disingenuous to claim that you originated the work. Taking and directly referencing AI, especially without stating that it was referenced from AI, indirectly steals from other artists and lies to your community. I wish it could be a Robin Hood story, but it is not. Stealing from AI is stealing from other artists. The images had to have come from somebody, and the images certainly did not come from thin air. Some unknown or potentially known artists will continue to have their work stolen, but in this time it's coming from another creative, another artist. While I do not want to open the can of worms that is, and I cannot stress these quotes enough, quote, pose theft, art style theft, or color palette theft, directly taking a character design or composition from AI steals from a plethora of other artists. In defense of young or immature artists referencing organic and AI-generated images, it is best to assume that the practice, direct reference, and master studies are okay, so long as you do not stand to make money from the work. Original work should stay original and as unique as possible if you intend to profit from the work. On referencing AI to practice, it is often more harmful than beneficial. AI is flawed, inaccurate, a crutch, and I cannot stress the quotes on this enough. Bad artists, end quote, use AI to create a lesser work. The anatomy will hinder, the improper lighting sources will stun artists who should be using references to learn. Truthfully, aspiring and training artists should aim to break away from AI, to deny its siren call, and to avoid it and not pay any mind to it. Truthfully, there is more value to your work if you actually put the time and effort towards it. Remixing, remastering, collage, reinterpretation, drawless in your style, all come from a sense of artistic interpretation and inspiration. Referencing other works is common. Direct referencing, copying, and even tracing can be okay, so long as you do not rob another artist or creative from their potential earnings or lie to people who you are showcasing your art to. A true artist will not rob another artist from their peers or potential clients. AI image generation is generally unethical unless the dataset has explicit permission from the data owner and there are strict guidelines in the TOS that everyone follows, then it could be ethical. But just because it can be does not mean that it is. Directly referencing and profiting is theft. Stealing and referencing AI doubles down on stealing from other artists. Stealing from AI is inherently harmful to other artists. Stealing and taking from AI is not the Robin Hood or power to the people move nor stance it appears to be. By stealing from AI, we actively rob other artists, creatives, and other peoples who have their hard-earned work stolen from them. Artists are already incredibly undervalued. Let's not devalue the work nor steal the work from other artists. And before I close, I'd like to end with my very own 100% original quote. Good artists create, great artists credit, and ugly, ugly people steal. Until the next time, Himeros out.